Before getting to the characteristics of rays used in irradiation, let's try to understand what is radiation. Radiation is emission and propagation of energy through a material medium. We are mainly interested in electromagnetic radiation for preservation of food. There are several rays used in the food industry. Let's look at a few examples of rays that are used for food preservation. First is UV rays. They are powerful bactericidal agents that have an effective wavelength between 250 nanometer to 300 nanometer. They are non-ionizing in nature, meaning they do not have the ability to take away electron from another compound. Now, this UV range of light can be absorbed by proteins and nucleic acid readily, causing photochemical reactions and subsequently microbial cell death. Microbial death is essentially due to the capacity of UV rays to cause mutations in the microbial cell. It can be single strand breaks, single point mutations, or anything. Now, due to their limited penetration power is the ability of UV rays to effectively travel from the surface to the center of the food product. They are restricted to surface applications. Surface application of UV, it reduces the microbial load very well. But when you go to the center of the product, UV rays cannot reduce the microbial load. Example of use of UV rays at industrial level is for surface cleaning and disinfection. Second rays, you have beta rays. It is stream of electron emitted from a radiation source called as electron accelerators. They have poor penetration power. Again, they are used for surface applications, but great ionizing ability. Ionizing ability is the ability to take away electrons from another compound. As a result, they can be used for food protection. However, due to lower penetration power, we need high dosage. And they do not produce radiation waste, and they are focused beam. It is directed irradiation. That is, these beams, they go from the source to the product. It does not dissipate in the surroundings. Third, we have gamma rays. Gamma rays, they are high penetrating rays. High penetrating in the sense they can get from the surface to the center of the product very efficiently and effectively, meaning they are capable of reducing the microbial load not just on the surface but also in the center of the product. They have low ionization power. Again, they cannot abstract electrons easily from another compound. A continuous radiation source is required, and there is production of radioactive waste. Now, one of the most important features of gamma rays is that they are non-focused beam. You can see here an example of non-focused beam, meaning they can dissipate to the surroundings very easily. And because of the intensity and power of gamma rays, when we are dealing with gamma rays, we have to take exceptional safety precautions. Low dose of gamma rays is very effective to reduce microbial load to a great extent. Finally, we have X-rays. X-rays, they have high penetrative capacity. Now, one of the advantages of X-rays when compared to gamma rays is that they do not require radioactive source. They are also similar to beta rays in the sense that they produce directed beam. They are very uniform in nature, unlike the gamma rays. But what is the limitation of X-ray? It is very expensive. Let's now see how the rays are effective in reducing microbial load in food products. When food is subjected to irradiation treatment, the rays can have either a direct impact or an indirect impact on microbial cells. When we talk about direct impact, the rays can destroy microbial cells either by disrupting their normal functioning. And how does that occur? Because they are able to interfere with electron transport system during ATP generation, mainly by expelling electrons from the system, or they can have an impact on the nucleic acid structure. When we talk about indirect effect of radiation, it refers to certain post-irradiation changes or reactions that result in formation of free radicals. We have already discussed in several videos that free radicals are cytotoxic. So they are cytotoxic to humans, meaning they are cytotoxic to microbial cells as well. For example, radiolysis of water results in production of hydrogen ions, hydroxyl ions, hydrogen peroxide, and hydrogen gas. We have seen that hydrogen peroxide is a potent bactericidal agent that is able to kill bacterial cells by abstracting electron from flavin adenosine dinucleotide molecule, resulting in cell death because of lack of synthesis of ATP. Now, when we talk about other ions like hydrogen ion, hydroxyl ions, they tend to react with nucleic acid, causing breaks at various locations. They cause single strand breaks or double strand breaks. Now, about 20% of the time, there is abstraction of hydrogen ions from any one of the carbon of deoxyribose, and about 80% of the time there is an injury to one of the nitrogen bases of your nucleic acid. The sensitivity of bases to irradiation is that thymine is the most sensitive to irradiation treatment, followed by cytosine, followed by adenine, and guanine is the most resistant to irradiation. Now, apart from hydrogen ion and hydrogen peroxide, hydroxyl ion is most effective in microbial inhibition because it is known to react with certain organic molecule and thereby interfere with the bonding pattern in the cell. Now, when we talk about radiation sensitivity, we can follow this trend here given in the box. Gram negative is more sensitive than gram positive, which is obvious because gram positive has a protective peptidoglycan layer around it. Second, vegetative cells are more sensitive than spores. Why? Because spore is an adaptation to extreme environmental conditions. Third, in log phase, the cells are more sensitive to irradiation. Log phase is a phase wherein cells actively multiply and reproduce. So if all the energy is used by the cell to adapt to new environment, there is nothing left for reproduction. That's why log phase, they are very much susceptible to death. Finally, if you look at the type of microorganism, moles radiation sensitivity is similar to vegetative bacteria, which is more sensitive than yeast, and the most resistant of all this is gram-positive bacteria. Thank you for staying with me through the video. In case you have any queries, please feel free to put them in the comment section and I'll get back at the earliest.